Hey everybody, it is Thursday, January 30th at 9:30 a.m. I'm doing the earbud thing today, so I hope you can hear me because my dogs are driving me absolutely batshit crazy. So maybe this will help. I don't know. It might not. So I've got a lot of stuff to talk to you guys about today in a short amount of time because I know I'm like you guys, I've got a 10 o'clock appointment, so we are going to get a lot done in 30 minutes. What is this? It says I can tag friends? No way. Huh. I'll have to figure that out for next time. All right, so what we're doing today, first of all, I want to go through a little bit of a shout out. You guys are freaking awesome because of all of the stuff you are getting done for your 30-day practice challenge. So Kyle, good to have you on here. I was reading yours first. Your online course netted $500 in January, and you're going to exceed your January 2020 financial goal for the whole practice. That is awesome. Congratulations. Hey, Rachel. Sanavada, you started your own private practice. Whoop, whoop, giving back, giving back. That's what we do. We put ourselves in the communities to do good work. Good job. Hey, Soul on Hell, thanks for watching. Rita Hernandez, you started the supervision practice. Good job. Oh my gosh, you took everything we talked about this summer and you did it, and you have 2 interns and interviewed 2 more. Congratulations. Amanda Esquivel, I am so excited about the private practice strategy game. I want to see you do this in a YouTube video. I want to be able to put this out there and show people how this works. I think it's a fabulous idea. Hey Wayne, thanks for watching. Maria Nelson, you attended your first conference ever. Way to go. Always about the continuing education, finding out how to do this thing we call counseling just a little bit better every single time. Karen May, you participated in your first supervisor consultation group this morning. I was so glad to have you. I know there are some supervisors in this group. I don't know if you know this, but we also have something called Texas Supervisor Training, and we have a monthly live consultation group that meets in person, but also virtually. So if you're ever interested in that, let me know. Texas Supervisor Training, get over there and you will get some amazing consultations. So Karen, good to have you. Alyssa Ray booked 2 speaking events. Oh my gosh, you've got to PM me and let me know how you did that. A lot of people would like to know how you did that. Are you going out and asking a bunch of different conferences, or what's going on with you? We're super excited. Way to go. Meg Bellows started taking an Enneagram class. I've read about that. I'm actually reading a book by Chelsea Handler, and her latest book, hey Kata, thanks for joining us. She actually talks about taking an Enneagram, and it's her first foray into therapy. I highly recommend the book. I read it, I get stuff on Audible, and so she narrates it, so it's super funny. Carolyn QR organized a monthly consultation group. Good job. For Texas brain spotting therapists that begins next week. Hey, if you've got a virtual component to that, I am happy to advertise that for you. Janice Sloan Moran, I'm already fully transitioned into practicing exclusively through telehealth. What? That's awesome. That means no overhead. You are not having to rent an office. That's fabulous. Great job. You're working with a coach and a content strategist to get your side hustle going. Hey, that's what I had to do. I had to get a business coach, and I got a coach to help me write my book. Getting a coach is an awesome thing to do, and it's a great way to spend money to jump forward in your goals. Jessica Aaron, my first part-time admin started, and she is changing my life and my practice in only a few weeks. It's glorious to have help. Heck yes, it is. Good job. Way to make the leap. Some of us think, well, I can't afford help. Well, you know what? You can't afford not to. Dee Johnson established a PLLC and suggested a counselor support group in the community to help support each other in our practices. Dee, I hope you do that. Dee is our practice grant winner in December, and man, she's doing fabulous things. Maricosta Key, I created an ethics CE training. Yes, good job. Everybody's a CE provider, so if you have some good stuff, put it out there and sell it. Laura Aguirre, my former amazing intern, went to an EMDR training, or going to an EMDR training. Awesome. Get on it. Jessica Garza, and this is my other amazing intern, I think. Awesome. Went to a brain spotting training to help develop a specialization, because you know what? When you have a niche, then you have an ideal client. When you have an ideal client, your marketing becomes that much clearer. Carrie Proctor, former president of Texas, actually she's a past president of Texas Counseling Association, started researching PhD programs because why? Why not? You know what? That's the next step. Awesome for you, Carrie. Excellent. Fred Borrell, I partnered with a local outdoor challenge course to create a professional development training focusing on adventure therapy and outdoor behavioral health care for therapists, educators, and group facilitators. Love adventure training. That was one of my first gigs as a intern, and it was a great way to get hours, and it was just such a fabulous experience on the high and the low elements and doing the games and the experiential learning. So awesome, Fred. Way to go. You guys are awesome. Tomorrow we are doing the drawing, and winner gets a copy of my book, My Next Steps, Create a Counseling Career You'll Love, where I interview 5 people who are doing practice right. So one person owns a large practice, one person owns a small practice, there's an equine therapy specialist, a nonprofit owner, and a solo therapist. Some folks you know, some folks from our community. So check it out. Post in the thread in our Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses page. Stay in the thread. The drawing will be tomorrow for the book. So you guys are awesome. Next month, we are talking about sharing the love. It's February, so let's share the love. How do you share the love? You like each other's stuff. You share each other's stuff. We live in a world where marketing isn't about door hangers and putting your name on the back of the t-shirt at the football game anymore, right? It's not even a business card world anymore. This is about how much content can you push out so that Google likes you, pushes you, finds you, so that you show up in the search engines. The way that happens is we have to share each other's stuff. So this is my first step, right? I've got you guys listing what you're doing. That's great. But throughout February, we're going to be sharing blogs. We're going to be sharing our websites. We're going to be sharing CEs, any kind of free previews that we have. We're going to share any new material that you have, links to new material, and we are going to make sure that we're posting it on our personal pages. I have one page where I actually screenshot folks' information and put it on other pages. So it says, Theranest has killed my telehealth appointments this week. Well, forget Theranest. Open up, I'm doing DoxyMe. DoxyMe is working for me. So Kyle, maybe that would help. Throw it out there though, because I know a lot of people doing telehealth. So that's pretty cool. Let me talk a little bit about the summit. I went to the inaugural summit for the LPC Intern Association last week in Austin. I got to see Blaine Hummel. I got to see Ruben Gomez. I had dinner with a fabulous Nancy Malloy. Had a fabulous time. Lots of interns are now in this group, and that is so cool because that means you guys are really serious about building your business. I don't know if you know this about me, but one of my pet peeves is people who go into business and quit. I don't like that because as counselors, we are ingratiating. We are inserting ourselves into a community. The community relies on us, and if we go out of business, that's not okay. So interns, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad those of you who came up and said hi. I mentioned last week in our supervisor training consultation group, we had Catherine Bacon, the Texas Counseling Association LPC board liaison, came and talked to us about what sunset means for supervisors. So if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say sunset or BHEC or the discipline matrix, if you don't know what any of that means, that's something where if you're an intern, you need to talk to your supervisor, and if they give you that blank stare like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. Get them into the Texas Supervisor Training Group. If you're a counselor and you don't know what that means, then we probably need to get you into a group too. If you're a supervisor, well, you just need to be in the group. All right. So today, what have we talked about this month? January, we are talking about beginning with the end in mind. We've talked about organizing your time. We've talked about doing one marketing thing every day. We've talked about doing one thing every day that makes you money. So what is a money-making activity? It's not going out and giving muffins to your local physician attached to your business card with a cute little, font that you found, right? A money-making activity is literally returning a phone call. It's going out and talking to a chamber or a BNI group and telling them how to contact you. Remember the elevator speech we worked on. If you didn't get to see the elevator speech Thursday 30, well then go back and find it. Construct your elevator speech so you know who you are, you know what you're doing, and you know how to tell someone else how to find you quickly. If you go look at your website right now and you don't see your phone number within the first half a second of clicking on your link, you're doing it wrong. If you don't have some kind of a button where people can click it and schedule a 10-minute consultation with you, then you're dragging your feet a little bit. So we talked about that last week. So memorizing your 30-second commercial, memorizing your conversion speech, right? Your conversion speech is how you talk about yourself when people contact you for that 10-minute consultation. We talked this month about organizing your money, corralling that money, because you have this chunk of money that you make, right, from your clients. Then you have this chunk of money that you have to pay. That's your rent. We want this to be more than this. And then when we take this, we have to pay taxes and we have to put some into a savings account. I don't know about you guys. I hire 1099 employees, so those have to go out. The recipient copies have to go out tomorrow. So if you're a 1099 employer or you have folks that do contract work for you, remember those 1099s have to go in the mail tomorrow. And then you have a few days that people can get back to you and say, hey, that 1099 didn't quite jive with my records, and you have some time to correct that before you combine it with your taxes for the year and submit that April 15th. As we get closer to April, I'll talk about how I do my taxes. It's not quite super complicated, but I usually get an extension, and I'll share more about that in April because I use it to fund my SEP IRA. So this week is our last week of January, and it's the week that I know some people, even my daughter who does my social media calendar, she's like, Mom, this is kind of fluff. Why are we doing this? It's about your space. You have your space where you see clients. Now, I know this sounds a little woo-woo, but the energy in that room is you pouring into someone else, right? You're pouring into your client. Your client is suffering. They're getting help from you. That dynamic is a very specific dynamic. Now, I don't know if you believe in vibes and all that stuff, but that room isn't necessarily conducive to your creativity, right? In fact, a lot of us over time experience things like vicarious trauma in that room. We experience caregiver fatigue in that room. We have to self-care because of what happens in that room. And so I'm not saying that your client space is negative, not in any way, shape, or form, but we are all sort of these Pavlov dogs, and once we get this surrounding, these social cues, these visual cues, sometimes boom, our mood changes, right? We feel ourselves maybe getting into a negative place and we're not sure why. So a lot of people who are way smarter than I am have written books like Feng Shui and how to organize your space. And, we talked about Marie Kondoing that shit. So there's a lot of science or psychology or woo-woo around your space. So I know a lot of us have beautiful offices and we want to pack up all our stuff and we want to go to our office and we want to do our work there. And if you're able to do that, fabulous. I'm not. I've tried so many different things. We had a different layout, a floor plan in the home that we had in the Woodlands, and I remember it didn't have a space for an office. And so I've got 3 kiddos. When one of them, left to go to college, I thought, oh, this is great. I'll go upstairs. I will make this my office. Apparently, Kate doesn't like to go upstairs. So I never went. I never went upstairs. It was like something I had to do, and it was just, it didn't work for me. So I set up a table in my TV room. I made it facing the wall, and I'd put on these shotgun headphones. You shoot, like when you're shooting guns, you put on. And that worked okay. I mean, I was able to, stare at the wall, but at that time I had little kids, right? So I had little kids coming in and mom. And, again, I discovered about myself that I need probably 30 minutes uninterrupted before I actually get into my project. And my brain has to relearn where I left off. I learned that when I wrote my dissertation. I almost had to relearn my dissertation every time I opened it. So 30-minute chunks never worked for me. I had to have at least, at minimum, a 2-hour uninterrupted chunk. And I've posted in this group about the different techniques with the Parkinson principle and the Pomodoro technique, where you're able to have a timer, and I use my phone and I'll set 20-minute alarms, and that helps me chunk up my activities. But I stay in this room for 2 hours, and that's how I know it, or longer. And so the ability to have a door, and I think someone even posted that, like, what makes a good space? What makes a good space is a door and a set of earbuds, right? So we're really getting particular here when it comes down to how you think and how you get creative. Maybe you like bulletin boards. I used to like 3M paper. If you don't know what 3M paper is, go to Office Max, it's in the back. And it's like giant Post-it notes, right? So you take these giant Post-it notes, I'd stick it on the wall, I'd get my magic marker, and I'd write away. I love, let's see, I don't have it over here, but I love notepads, right? I have one of these all the time, right next to me. Hey, Galena, thanks for watching. And every time something, when I sit down, and I'll tell you the steps exactly, I have a Trello board. My Trello board holds my brain. I take my brain, I dump it into my Trello board. So my Trello board probably has, I don't know, 1 million things on it. When I come into my office, the first thing I do is I pull 3 things off of that list, and I write them down on my blank sheet. I make sure it's blank, and I write down 1, 2, 3 things, set it down, hit my timer, and go. And as soon as I scratch off all 3, I go back to my Trello board and I pull 3 more things off. Now, you guys know as well as I do, there are 3 things like, put a stamp on the envelope, check, done. And then there are things like create an email for the newsletter this week. Oh my gosh, that's going to take 3 hours. Doesn't matter, it goes on the list. If it takes 3 hours, then you only got 1 thing done today. But it was an amazing thing. There's also something to be said for doing the most difficult thing first, right? So a lot of times I will dive into a project that looks simple, like create a theories course, or, revamp your HIPAA training. And then I will realize that my learning management system is wrong. And I'm like, oh crap, now I have to go research learning management systems. I've got to go make a phone call. So it's not uncommon for this stuff to then grow. And that's okay. That's okay. What that means is you just need to chunk a little bit more. Now, if you don't have a space to do this in, or I like to think of it like a placeholder, because again, you guys have seen my whiteboards, right? Here are my whiteboards. I use my whiteboards as a placeholder for everything. So if right now, let's say my dog started barking because my mother-in-law fell, right? Well, I can write down a placeholder here. I know exactly where my brain was at the time. I get up, go take care of that, and come back, right? Because this is a privilege to work from home. I know that. If you are working in your office, in your client space, maybe you won't get those interruptions. But the other thing is the beautiful, and I don't know, I'm sorry, now I'm getting a little tangential. In my last newsletter, I included a link to a Tim Ferriss blog with productivity tips, and one of the things in there was how to go through your settings in your phone to turn off all of the notifications. Y'all, this changed my life, right? So if I'm at work, I don't go over and see bing, 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 right? Those annoying banners, gone. So also you're able to go in there and identify only a certain few people who can actually get through that firewall, right? So there aren't many people who can actually get me during the day with the notifications. So just an idea. So we've got 2 spaces. Let's wrap up a little bit. You've got your space at home where you can modify with your whiteboards and I even use a music stand, you guys. I'm teaching sexual concerns again. So if you guys need some references, these are the textbooks I'm using this year. I use music stands. I use tripods. I have an L-shaped desk. I have 2 computer screens. That's my happy spot. If you're having to work in your living room and you're facing the wall and you have your headphones on and your earbuds and your blinders, that's great too. You can get the 3M paper from Office Max, do the same thing. The idea is you're creating a space That's not where you're working. Remember, as a business owner, you are in 3 roles, right? You are the technician, right? You are the manager, and you are the marketer. And in this role, this is you in your creative role as marketer. You're creating that new idea. You're creating that new marketing strategy. You're finding a better way to serve your clients. You're making sure that everyone in the community can find you. That's one of the reasons we ended on this note for January. I wanted you to see how the space contributes to your marketing, because you have to be creative and you have to be brave. Marketing isn't it's not easy for me. It may be easy for you guys. It was something that I literally had to download the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and go paragraph by paragraph and practice it every day. Like I tell my husband, hey, today I'm practicing eye contact. Hey, today I'm practicing saying your name with a smile. Hey, today I'm practicing remembering your name. And that was, these were skills that I didn't learn in my counseling program. I didn't learn in any program, right? And I hear that so often. Why isn't this stuff taught in our counseling programs? Well, probably because it's not part of a K-CREP program, and it's not what the law requires, right? When you go to the new laws, you see 60-hour programs, and not one of the required courses, not one, is related to business. So we combine at Kate Walker Training business stuff with ethics and community so we can support each other, right? Because we are into not quitting. So this has been all about space. Next week, we're going to start talking about sharing the love, right? We got to share the love. We got to make sure that we're getting everybody's stuff liked. If you have a blog, Jessica Aaron is on. She has an amazing blog now. She's been featured. Her blog's been featured. So we need to go out there. We need to read it. We need to like it. We need to push it out in our own stuff. So start thinking about what is holding you back, right? What's holding you back from starting one thing this month? If you didn't take the 30-day practice challenge, why? Think about why not? Why did you postpone it? Or what's holding you back? Is it you're getting overwhelmed by your to-do list? Is it your space? Is it this idea that your to-do list is just too long, or there's not enough room in your house, or there's no place for you to go do work? I want you to name it. I want you to name your barrier so we can kill it. We're going to kill the barriers. I know that sounds violent. I apologize. But in February, we'll be a lot more loving, right? So we could backwards plan your badass business goals, right? Because why? Because counselors don't quit. You are too important to lose to things like going broke, not knowing the rules, getting fired, and giving up, right? Hashtag counselors don't quit. That's about it today, guys. I've got to get ready for my next appointment. Telehealth rocks. So 10 a.m. clients, that'll give me enough time to get a little bit of coffee in me. You guys have a great week. Next week, our Thursday 30, we'll start a little bit later. We're going to do it at 10:30 instead of 9:30 because I have a breakfast meeting. So I will see you guys all next week when we will share the love. Don't forget to post in that thread if you've done something amazing this month so I can include you in the drawing tomorrow. This is Dr. Kate Walker with our Badass Business Builders Thursday 30. Have a great week.